Good morning, everyone. My name is Charissa Viga, and on behalf of the Canadian Helper Society, I'd like to warmly welcome you to today's session, Kitchener's Newcomers Women's Digital Navigation Hub program, Orientation and Consumer Skills. This session is made possible through the generous support of the Corporation of the City of Kitchener. Today's session is designed for newcomer women in the Kitchener region, and we're excited to empower you with consumer knowledge. We'll cover safe online shopping practices, price comparison tools, and consumer protection resources. We delighted to have Dr. Hamed Vahabi, a senior engineer of GeoVernova, with over 10 years of training experience guiding you through these practical skills. Good morning, Doctor.
Thank you. Let me share the screen. Oh, okay. All right. Can you see my screen now? All right. I'm assuming yes. So again, thanks all for joining. This is our ninth session on learn how to access online services. Today we want to continue our job hunting process, effective online job search, how to find a job, how to apply for a job effectively, and then what should we do after applying for a job. And then we'll discuss briefly about the common mistakes we usually make when we're applying for a job. Um, Next week is going to be our last session. The plan is to talk about the online banking, and hopefully, I would be able to briefly talk about the uh, safe online purchases and everything about it. Hopefully, so what I want to ask you to do is please, since this is our last session. We won't have any other session to go through your questions. So please, if you have any specific question about online banking and online purchases, these type of things, please send your question to Mr. Shapoor, and he'll send me those questions. I try to cover all those things in our next session. So Um, like I said, please be aware that we won't have any other session to go through your questions. We'll cover the main context and your questions all in hopefully in the last in our next session. And please try to be a little bit flexible about the timing. It may take a little bit more than an hour, so um, please be aware of that as well. Now, we received a couple of good questions, uh, and I will cover these two questions as well in slide number 50 and 51. We'll see how or what resources or strategies can someone use to grow their professional network effectively. And then on slide number 56, 57, and 58, we'll discuss some common mistakes the applicant may make when applying for a job and how we can avoid them and so on. So, the first item we want to talk about is effective online job searching. First, we need to see how we can find a job. Uh, we can start with we should start with a clear target, meaning first you have to define your ideal role, industry, and location. Um, one one major problem we usually have with the applicant is they have very vague idea where they want to land, what industry they are more interested. whether they're open for relocation or they prefer uh, remote working or what. So your priorities, your concerns, your ideal conditions should be very clear. And then identify your top skills and accomplishments. Uh, you usually have a lot of skills. In some of them, you're perfect. In some of them, you are okay. In some of them, you consider yourself as like beginners. So you have to be aware of your skills and accomplishment, and accordingly, you can shape your resume, um, and then your LinkedIn profile and the search terms. What I usually suggest applicants is to have a master or a general resume, which includes everything about you, which includes all your skills and accomplishments and every details. So it would be most likely it would be a few pages, more than 2 pages. That would be fine. But then you have everything you need. Now, each time when you want to apply for a specific uh, job based on the job description, you can tailor that general or master resume easily and reduce it to 1 or 2 pages clean resume. Okay, so identify your but like I said, I mean, you need to identify your top skills and accomplishments and then include it in that master resume. And the other thing you need to uh, make your decision about is whether you're, like I said, whether you're open to work on site or hybrid or remote or what's your preference here. Now, once you're clear on what you want to look for based on these 3 questions, then you need to look for uh, open positions where we have some general boards like LinkedIn or Indeed or Glassdoor. You can find some um, open positions in, let's say, higher level. I would say more industrial, higher level positions. You may rely more on LinkedIn and Glassdoor. On other positions, you can rely more on Indeed, but overall, there are a lot of good open positions usually out there, and these 3 general boards. Along with that, you can find our open positions in specialized boards like Dice, which is perfect, which is a perfect platform for tech jobs or Media Bistro for media jobs and so on. So um, these are 2 very useful platforms for higher level positions. And then you can also look for company career pages. Each company, when you want to apply for, they have their own career page. So you can go to their page and find roles that are already posted. Sometimes they have posting about future position, meaning they plan, for example, to have an open position in the next 3 months. They just put a posting there, and you can find them just on their own career page, not, for example, on a LinkedIn. Okay. The other good thing in career page is if you, for example, if you are interested in a specific company, you can go to their career page and search for the open positions there. You can also set up job alerts in your career page. So anytime, any position that you are interested, if they advertise an interesting position for you, then you'll receive an alert, and you can apply for that quickly without each time searching in that career page. So that's a good tool here. So figure out what you're important for you, and then go to these platforms, find the open positions, and for searching about the open positions you might be interested in, you can consider these simple rules like Boolean search operators, like and or quotation marks to specify clearly what you're interested in, okay, and narrow the results. Like, for example, you would say content strategies and content manager, right? So, uh, or content strategies or content manager. So this way, I mean, when your platform, whether you're searching on Google or go to LinkedIn or any platform you're searching in, it gives you uh, it gives you a list of open positions, which includes this or this. And then the other thing important is uh, in most of the cases uh, when a position is filled or even not filled but very old, and the company decides to kind of ignore that position, you may not know that. You just search for the positions and then you find a position, but you have no idea whether it is still active or not. What you can do is just take a look at the date of the posting. If it is too old, like for example, if it is 2 months old, 3 months old, most likely the position is not still active, whether they already hired someone or ignore that position. So don't waste your time to apply for old positions. Okay. These are, like I said, simple things to consider when you want to apply, when you want to find an open position. Now, uh, you are ready to find a position, and then what to do next is how to apply for a position. Okay. Once you find a position, like for example, you are interested in a company like Intel, and then you search for open positions, you find a bunch of different positions that fits your resume, and you want to apply for them. Okay, but to apply for a job, this is, I mean, this is a list of things you're better to follow. First, don't apply for that position directly. That is very important. Don't apply for the position directly. Rather, try to find someone to refer you for that position. Okay. And the reason is, um, especially in larger companies, uh, they prefer to hire someone who is a little bit familiar with the company, with the culture of the company, and so on. Okay, so if you know, for example, if your brother is working in a company, you are a little bit familiar with that company, with their products, with their projects, with their culture and everything, right? So if they hire you, you'll have a much better chance of uh, being successful in that company because you know someone there that is ready to help you and let you catch up as soon as possible. Okay. So this is the reason why, especially larger companies these days rely more and more on referrals. Okay. So the question here is how we can find someone to refer us for a position. Okay. The first answer is network digitally to find a referrer. Like I said, if you already know a person, mention how you are connected. Otherwise, introduce yourself very briefly and explain why you are reaching out. Like, for example, you have a LinkedIn account and you have someone connected to you already in LinkedIn. Now you find a position at Intel and you have a friend working at Intel, okay? Or you have someone in your connection list of LinkedIn who's working at Intel, okay? So you can reach out to that person and if you are not confident that he or she remembers you, just mention how you're connected and then ask for help. Or um, if if he or she is not in your connection list, but you found him, somehow, just briefly explain why you are reaching out to them, and then mention the role or company you are interested in, and share why you are a strong fit. Okay, and it shouldn't be too long because people are not interested in spending a whole lot of time to read something about one person that is interested in a position in their company. Okay, just very briefly introduce yourself and explain why, introduce the position you're interested in and explain why you believe that you're a good fit. Okay. Now, what you can do is you can attach your resume or LinkedIn profile and also offer to provide a short referral blurb they can adapt because in some companies, uh, it is a very clear procedure. They just click on something, some options, and then send a referral. How it works is usually once they refer you for a position, the company send you a specific or a customized link for that position. So you don't need to apply through the position you already found on, for example, LinkedIn. Rather, you receive a new link to that position, which is connected to that referral. And then you can apply through that link. So when you send your resume through that link, the recruiter receives your resume and also receive that referral attached to your resume. Okay, that's important. Now, in some companies, they prefer the referrer to uh, just write a few sentences why he or she believes that you're a good fit. For that, you can offer the referrer to provide a short referral blurb so they can adapt in their write-up. Okay. And one other thing important to for you to acknowledge is they may not be able to help. If it is the case, don't be upset and just thank them regardless of the outcome, because sometime in future uh, you may uh, you may be hired in the company and you want to work with them, or um, in some other occasions he or she maybe could help you in future. So as I many times I said, don't destroy the bridge. Okay, thank them, and that's it. Now, once you found someone who is willing to help you on that, once an employee accepted to help you, then you can send him or her the position number or code, and that's it. Usually, when companies advertise a position, that position has its own number or code. You can find it somewhere on top of the position on right or left. So what you need to do is you need to send that number or code to your referrer, and then the referrer goes to their uh, company's platform, referral platform, and then based on that position, he or she would be able to find the position you are interested based on that code, and then refer you for that position. Okay. Now the employee refers you for the position, and then like I said, you'll receive a personal link to apply. And like I said a few times, you have to revise your resume based on the job description. Now, sometimes you apply for a position in a company, and then 1 or 2 days later, or even the same day, you find another position that you're interested in as well in the same company. Don't be shy to revise your resume each time. In fact, you have to revise even if, like, for example, you find 10 different positions in a single company you're interested in, and you find yourself a good fit for all those 10 positions, you have to revise your resume 10 times and then use those 10 different resumes for those positions. Do not use one single resume for those positions because they're all going to the same company. No, it is not true. For each position, revise your resume and send a customized resume for that position. Okay? Like I said here, one updated resume for each job application. I'm insisting on this and emphasizing on this many times, as you have heard in the past couple of sessions as well, because I'm working with different applicants, and this is a very common problem. They just because it takes time, right? It takes time for you to read the job description and revise your resume accordingly and all those things. So instead of spending this time, they prefer to just have a single general resume and send that simple resume to any position they find. This won't work. Don't waste your time. Okay. Now, one other thing about referral is you can ask, uh, like I said, you can ask someone in the company for the position. Like I said, larger company relies more on referral based on what I just explained. So don't underestimate the importance of the referral. Um, one thing here is uh, here. The referrer is usually awarded by the company if you are hired. Okay. If I refer you for a position and then you go through the interviews and finally got hired by the company will award me as well. Okay. So don't be shy to ask several referrals from an employee. Okay. Don't be shy because usually first it won't take a whole lot of time from me if I'm familiar with the referral platform of my company. It is pretty simple. It won't take more than 5 minutes at most. Okay, so it won't take time, and also, I mean, I'll be awarded if you're hired as well. So along with helping you, there would be a specific benefit for me as well to refer you. Okay, so don't be shy to ask several referrals from an employee, but at the same time, you have to be mindful of their time. Okay, don't bombard them with with requests. Okay, and once you send those requests, give them a few days to respond. If you don't receive any response after a few days, then just reach out again to see if there is any update for you. Okay. Now, a referral from an employee can make your application stand out from the recruiter's list. Okay. If they're very busy. Like I said, I told you in larger companies, a recruiter receives hundreds of resume for just one single open position. Okay. And they have a very hard time to find the best applicants and shortlist them for technical interview. Okay. Now, this is very crucial. This is a very crucial step, and that's why you need to tailor your resume, make it a perfect, uh, make it looks like good and looks good, and then makes it a perfect match. Everything about resume, but at the same time, a referral from an employee in that company will help you as well to help the recruiter uh, I mean, spend a little bit of more time on your resume or uh, put you in that short list. Okay. Our referral, especially from a trusted employee, act as a very strong endorsement, increasing your credibility with the hiring team as well. Meaning, you receive, for example, you find a senior engineer, or I'm talking about an engineering position. You want to apply for a position, you find someone in the senior level or principal engineer level in that company, and the guy would be willing to help you. Okay. Once he or she gives you a referral, since he or she is highly trusted in that company, is at a higher level in that company, that referral would be a strong endorsement. So first, it increases the chance of going into the short list of the recruiters significantly. And two, during your technical interview, it gives you more credit when the uh, interview panel interview wants to perform a technical interview with you. They already kind of make their mind to some extent because of that strong endorsement from that highly esteemed employee. Okay, so don't underestimate this referral. Don't underestimate finding highly esteemed employee for your referral. Okay. Now, one thing to consider and remember is although this referral is very helpful, but it doesn't guarantee a job offer, okay? You still need to perform well in your interview. But like I said, it helps you during the um, interview as well. Now, how you find the referral? The easiest way is to find them digitally. If you Once you find a position in a company, then you can find the page of that company on LinkedIn. Let me show you here. I guess I have a couple of examples here for you. Where is that? Okay, here. For example, I let me go to this here. Okay. So, for example, I was searching for positions and I just found this senior mechanical engineer in uh, Acom. Okay. So this is the name of the company. Okay. Now, like I said, just read the job description, make sure that you're a good fit, but then do not apply here. Rather, just get the name of the company, go to LinkedIn, and then here you can search for the name of the company. Okay. And then there we go. This is the page of that company. Okay. Now it gives you a lot of good information. First, you can just get familiar with what they work on, the project they're interested in, a lot of things here that you might be interested in. You may find some other open positions here if they have any, but for us, these tabs are very, very helpful. Like, for example, if I go to About, it gives you some more information about the company. If I go to Post, I may be able to look at their post on LinkedIn. Honestly, I'm not that interested here. If you want to see if there are any other job opening available in their company, you can go to the jobs, and this is how if you're interested more in the culture of the company, this is where you can find some good information there. But for the purpose of finding a referral, you can go to the people. Now, here you find a lot of good information. Like it starts from where their employee are living in, and then where they studied. For example, if you studied at University of Texas A&M, you can just go to this, and this is a list of their employee that used to study at your university. And usually people from the same school are more willing to help each other. So you can find, like, for example, this guy, and then send the connection request and so on. Okay. So where they studied, or like, for example, uh, if if, for example, if you are interested in a specific uh, field of work, you can look for them here based on their skill. For example, you're familiar with a specific software that they might be interested in their company, and you want to see if someone is working with that software or not. If yes, then that guy might be more interested in looking at your resume, and if he or she finds your resume a good fit, refer you for that position. Okay. So what you can do is you can just add and then search for that software. Like, for example, I'm working with ANSYS. I would search ANSYS here, right? Very good. Um, if there is any there, it gives you a list here. Okay. So you can find, or for example, if you don't find, I usually forget it. Just remove the prior filter, and then where was that? Go to that skill, and then search for, did I search it? Okay, this is product. Okay, yeah. These guys are working with NCs in that company. Okay, so you can find your resume to these guys, resting assured that they are able to kind of understand that you are a good fit because you're good at ANSYS, okay? Or, like, for example, what they studied. Based on your major, you can find someone who's willing to refer you. One good, let me remove the prior filter here if there is any. Okay, no. Now, what other very helpful tool here is how you are connected. Meaning, here it shows that I have one connection, one direct connection in that company. This guy, Vahid, is working in that company, and he is in my connection list, LinkedIn. Okay. So if I want to apply for a position, Vahid is probably the best person that I can reach out. Okay. Some Sometimes you don't have any direct connection, but this one shows that there are 41 employee in that company that knows someone from your connection list. Okay, so what I can do here is I can go to that uh, again. I can go to this, clear the first. Now I can go to the second-hand connections, and then I I can go, for example, I want to see who from my list is connected, for example, to this guy. I mean, okay, I can go to his page, and then there we go. Here, it shows a list of three mutual connection between me and Amin. Okay, now what I can do is I can go to this list and find uh, one of these guys that I'm more comfortable with, for example, Money. And then I would reach out to Money, ask him to talk with Amin to see if he is willing to refer me for that position or not. Okay. So this way you can find someone um, to refer you for a position. Okay. Uh, Structure here, go to, there we go. So to answer your question, this is the easiest way I can think of to find someone to refer you. So go to LinkedIn after finding your job. Again, find the page of that company on LinkedIn, go to People tab, and find employees that have something in common with you. Like, for example, uh, the major the major of the major you studied at university, or you're coming from the same country, or what you have you're working on the same uh, professional software or something like that. Find someone that have something in common with you, and then in the list of people you found, try to find someone closer to you. Okay. Like, for example, in the list of people working on the same software, if you find a list of 10 people, then try to find someone from your school or from your country. These persons are usually more willing to help. Okay. And then send your connection request to them. Now, uh, once you find the position, and then once you find a good person to refer you for that position, you send a request, that guy refer you for the position, you receive uh, a link from the company, and then you'll apply for that position through that link. Now it's time for uh, some further steps. Um, Sorry. So now it's time for further steps or follow up, let's say, steps. What to do after applying for a job? Here is a list. First, you have to keep track of your applications. You can develop a spreadsheet or app like Hunter or Teal to log the following information to prevent duplicate applications and missed follow-ups. I've seen many applicants that apply for the same position in a company many times, and first, they wasted their time, and second, it could be awkward, especially in smaller companies, that the recruiter may receive just a few resume. Uh, if he or she receives, like, for example, 3 or 4 different resume from you, that would be awkward. Okay, so just uh, prepare this spreadsheet for you. Name of the company, name of the role or position, where you found that position, whether you had a referral for that or not, uh, then the date where you applied for that position, how you applied for the position, and then what was in the role or position. Just make sure that you store the position number or code as well. And then status, whether you applied for the position, you are invited for an interview, where you received an offer, you're rejected, or what happened. Okay. So um, this is important because uh, this date of application and this status is important because, for example, you applied for a position today, and then here it shows that you just applied at this date. After like 10 days or 2 weeks or so on, You haven't received anything from this position, so it's a time for you to reach out to the recruiter and see if he or she can provide a update for that or not. Okay. So, but for the follow-up date, just give them a couple of weeks. Don't follow up after 2 days or 3 days. Okay. Um, but generally, this follow-up is very important. And like I said again, don't be shy to reach out to the recruiter. You can find the name of the recruiter usually in the job description as well. So don't be shy to reach out to them and ask for a follow-up. In fact, it could be a good sign or indicating that you are very strict and you're very interested in that position. The other thing is you have to be prepared for the next step. Once you apply for a job and you have a good feeling that, okay, I most likely I would receive a call from the recruiter because I'm a very good fit. My resume looks great. I'm a good match. I have a good referral. So most likely I would receive a call from this company. If it is the case, then uh, uh, don't waste your time on any other thing. Just start research the company before your interviews. Okay. It's a good idea to memorize the company's mission and vision, or at least have some idea what is the company's mission or vision, and try, uh, especially before the technical interview, spend good time to make sure that you are very familiar with the detail of the job description. So research the company before interviews, even before the recruiter's call. And then for the technical interview, try to practice interview skills. Uh, Check lighting, sounds, background. If you're gonna be interviewed online, all these details may matter. Okay, not very important, but they matter. Um, The last thing you have to consider is you have to stay consistent and resilient. One thing to remember is job searching can take weeks or months. I've worked with uh, applicants when they reach out to me for help. They already applied for positions for more than 6 months without even any single call from recruiter, while the resume was not bad, right? So this job searching takes time. So you have to be consistent, dedicate a good amount of time daily or weekly for searching and applying, and don't get tired. Um, Usually there is a hearing here. They say applying for a job is a click. Okay. Once it clicks, then you're going to be hired. But no one knows when that clicks happen. Okay. You have to just make sure that you follow up on all I try to list it in these 3 sessions. There are a lot more details here, but I try to give you some good uh, idea on different steps. So follow up and try to be consistent and resilient. Don't be tired and don't be upset. Uh, don't lose your self-confidence. Okay. Now, for uh, applying for a job, there are a lot of AI tools out there that can help you for, like, for example, for job interview practice. I provided a good list of AI tools you can use for practicing the job interviews. Like, for example, the interview warm up, which is from uh, uh, Grow with Google. What it can do, it can record and transcribe your spoken answers. So once you're done in your interview, you'll receive a transcription of your answers with uh, uh, some comments. And then it, like I said, it gives you insights about your answers. Like, for example, if you used some words very frequently, okay, or it gives you an information about the key talking points of your answers, or uh, like for example, some comments on your uh, answers, not very technical comments, but some good comments about your answers. And all these things will be private, so don't worry about the privacy of your data. So this AI tool is best for quick, safe verbal practice with simple analysis. Like I said, you receive some comments and more some statistics about your answers, but they're useful. The next one is Final Round AI, which is an AI tool for mock-up interview. What it does, it simulates role-specific, realistic interviews. Meaning, for example, you can provide the job description, and then it scans the job description, and then based on the job description, it helps you through a mock interview. Okay, and then it provides real-time feedback, meaning once you answer a question, it gives you some comments on how you can improve your answer. Okay, it also uh, flag filler words. Sometimes this is a bad mistake from applicants. Sometimes they just want to answer a question. They have uh, very limited knowledge on that, and they just try to uh, spend a little bit of time on that rather than answering the question appropriately. So they just use filler words, which is not a good strategy. And this AI tool find those filler words and show you if you used it or how often you use them. And although it helps you with clarity and storytelling, okay. Um, like I said, I guess in last meeting, I told you that you have to use the keywords. Not have to. It's better for you to use the keyword from the job description, but it should come in a context. It should be a story. Should be a story from you which include those keywords. Like for example, I'm very familiar with this software and Cs, and then um, I want to emphasize on that in my interview. The the interview panel asked me a question about the project I was working on and listed in my resume. Now I can, when I'm answering that question, I can kind of refer to this software as well. I would say, okay, I was working on this project for 8 months in a team of five other engineers. I was more in charge of uh, like structural vibration analysis using ANSYS, and we were able to complete the project, complete the design, and achieve these things. And finally, the customer was super happy by that, and blah blah blah. Okay, so it is a story from me, which includes some good keywords from the job description. This is the best way to answer the question. And this AI tool has both free and premium tiers, and it is good for a comprehensive, like I said, role-tailored practice sessions with actionable critiques. So you can count on that to improve your interview abilities. The other one is interviews by AI, which can convert job description into interview questions. Like I said, and you can upload the job description or copy the job description for that. It reads the job description and finds some technical questions or some good questions, not just technical, but it finds some good questions and then ask those questions from you. And once you answer the question, it gives you some good information. It lets you answer via text or audio and then give feedback with improved sample responses using STAR method, meaning for each question, once you answer the question, either verbally or through typing that answer, it gives you some feedback how you can improve your answer. Okay, it gives you a good response for that. And it considers the STAR method. Hopefully, you're familiar with the STAR method. If not, you can find very good resources on Google. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time to go into detail of that, but there are some good resources on internet. Now, this AI tool is good for custom role-specific preparation based directly on job descriptions. Okay, so it is very important. And it is pretty good in understanding the job descriptions and finding the keywords and coming up with really good questions. Okay, the next one is Airview Chat, which is coming from the Copilot. It provides real-time suggestions, star format responses, bullet points, and follow-up questions. It is a very interactive AI tool, uh, interactive, let's say, platform for the interview, meaning it asks a question from you, and then once you answer that question, it gives you some feedback on how to improve that question. And then it comes up with some follow-up questions from your answer, not necessarily uh, use a list of questions it just found in the job description. The other thing is it includes a Chrome extension for live support during coding or whiteboard exercises, which is good for software engineers and so on. And it provides a kind of live coaching and dynamic assistance across behavioral and technical interviews, which is pretty decent uh, for this behavioral uh, coaching stuff. The next one is the Her, which practices interviews using actual job posting again from platforms like LinkedIn. You just provide a link of that position on LinkedIn or ZipRecruiter. It goes through that link, find everything about the job, and then start interviewing with you. And then it gives you some good feedback on the content, your body language, your vocal delivery, how you were successful in fluently and a nice and a concise story, answer those questions, and so on. So it is pretty decent AI tool, which is great for realistic multimodal, you can use text format or verbal format both for interview stimulation. And the last one, I guess, is this DIY options with ChatGPT and other general tools using either your voice or text. Like I said before, these general AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and so on can interact with you in different languages. If you're not comfortable with English, you can use your own language. But for job interviews that are going to be in English, I would highly suggest you to practice your uh, job interviews in English. What you can do is you can go to ChatGPT or any general AI tool, paste your job description, and ask for a mock interview. And it gives you some feedback, whether in, like I said, in voice mode or text mode. And it is a decent one. It can gives you some good feedback, but not as strong as these specialized tools for job interviews. Sometimes the feedbacks are not great, or sometimes they're vague, and so on. So, but the good thing is that they're very flexible and free for using. Okay. So a few tips for you to use these tools effectively is I would suggest you diversify your practice, meaning use multiple tools to cover both technical and behavioral aspects. And I would suggest, I mean, I would emphasize on this behavioral aspect as well. Don't underestimate this, or yeah, this behavioral skills. Sometimes I've worked with applicants that were good on technical parts of the interview, but they didn't notice that their their storytelling, their answers does not do not reflect their good behavioral skills, meaning they just showcase their technical skills, but not behavioral skills, and they failed. Don't underestimate these behavioral aspects. One thing I want to share with you is um, uh, once you're, see, when you apply for a position, the recruiter, I'm talking about a middle level or large company, okay? The recruiter will receive hundreds of resumes, as I said. Imagine the recruiter receives 100 resume, and he or she is supposed to come up with a short list of three, four, or five resume and send them to the technical panel. Okay, meaning each of the applicants have only 1% chance of going into the short list, right? What you can do to improve your chance, like I said, make sure that your resume looks good. Make sure your resume is a very good match. Make sure you have a good referral for that, and so on. Okay. Now, once you are selected, uh, and your resumes and that five or at most 10 uh, applicants that went into the short list, the technical team will take a look at those resume and make sure that they agree with that selection. If not, they just delete some of them. So at the end, they would select three or four or at most five applicants for technical interview. Meaning, once you receive an invitation for a technical interview, now you are one from five, meaning you have 20% chance of being hired, which is a great improve, right? So here in that interview, what you need to do is you just need to show that you are a good fit for their technical requirements, and you need to show that uh, you are meeting their, let's say, their behavior requirement as well. One thing important is when they invite you for a technical interview, they already, based on your resume, they already know that most likely you're a good fit. Okay. Usually people make mistake that in the technical interview, they just try very hard to convince the uh, the interview panel that they are a good match. They try to again reemphasize on their skills, their technical skills. They try to just provide a good list of projects they've worked on. So technical skills, technical skills, technical skills. Just focus on technical skills. It is not a good idea. Why? Because that panel already know that most likely you're a good match. You have those technical skills. Because of that, you're already invited for the technical interview, right? In that meeting, They just want to make sure that they understood. They just want to make sure that first, uh, you're a good match as they expected, and two, they just want to see how how you interact with them, how you can kind of present your capabilities, how you can present the project you worked on. Um, so behavioral skills are very important here. So don't underestimate it. Now, you have to focus on actionable feedbacks, not just praise. Okay, when you're working with these AI tools, it gives you some good feedbacks. Okay, you're good here, you're good there, and so on. Don't don't spend your time on those uh, praise. Uh, Try to find good critiques and see how you can improve your answers. You also have to um, reflect and iterate, meaning first you what you can do is you can record your interview. I would highly suggest you record your interview, and then after you're done, take a rest and then listen to the recording. Once once you listen to the recording, you yourself may be able to find some flaws there, some specific part that could be improved. Okay, so try to record the interviews and iterate a few times. Make sure that if you do the same interview, you'll be perfect. And then you have to neaten your delivery, aim for clarity, confidence, and authenticity. Don't sound like a robot or over scripted. I told you before. It should comes in a good flow of a story, not just a list of tasks that I worked in that company, I worked on this project, and I worked with that software. I mean, I completed the project. I worked on the other project. No, it is not a good idea. It would be boring. Just come up with a good story. Okay, I worked in that company and we received this project. It was like, for example, we had a very limited time, and so come up with a good story for each answer, and then try to include as much as many keywords as possible in that story. Okay, and then combine with human practice. One thing important here is AI tools are very good supplements, but doesn't replace real practice with mentors, peers, or mock interviews or career coaches. So practice with AI tools and then go ask for help from like a career coach or your friend or mock interviewers or so on. If you want to use ChatGPT, this would be a good example prompt. I'm aiming for a role in the following link. Can you please recommend with the AI platform would be most effective to help me for that? And then here is the link. So ChatGPT will look at that job description and gives you a good list of AI tools that could help you better than others. Now, first question we received was, what are the most common mistakes job seekers make when applying online and how they can avoid them, right? I try to kind of mention all those problems here. Here is a list. Uh, like for example, common mistake in finding a job is they only stick to some companies and industries. Like for example, I've had a friend, he just applied for Intel, Apple, and a couple of more uh, large companies in the semiconductor industry. And he has spent 3 months to give up. Okay. And then after that, he extended the the companies and industries and were able to find a job in 1.5 months or so. Okay. So don't stick to something. Try to extend as possible. Search with vague keywords. Uh, it won't help you. Try to, like I said, try to come up with very clear keyword for your search. Then you have these are common mistakes in applying for a job. Like uh, if you miss or underestimate the referral, I explained this, right? Your resume is not well prepared. In terms of format, your resume is colorful. Not a good idea. Just one or two color is enough. It is not clean and neat. I explained this, right? It has no header or summary or time frame. Not a good idea. It should start with a summary with very clear header, and then whenever possible, you have to provide time frames there. Okay. Your resume in terms of content should uh, match the job description, right? So you have some job experiences, but those job description, think of your resume, that job experiences are not provided in bullet points. Skills are just, and I explained this to you, right? For each job description, sorry, for each job experience, for example, you worked in this company for this 2 years and then went to the next company for this 3 years and so on. For each of these job experiences, you have to have two or three. Ideally, you should provide three bullet points with major, let's say, achievement and skills provided in those bullet points. Okay. But if instead of using bullet points, if for each job description you provide a paragraph of a story, that's not a good idea. Resume is different from interview. In your resume, you have to provide bullet points with good content, but in your job interview, you have to come up with a good story. This is the difference. Now, in your resume, skills are just listed without any content. Like I said, they say in the job description, they say we want someone very familiar with ANSYS, and then in my job in my resume, I just said I'm very familiar with ANSYS. That's that's nonsense. It should come up in a content. In one of your bullet point, you can say, okay, worked on a project of designing this, like for example, this a mechanism with five engineers, uh, successfully completed in 9 months, responsible for vibration analysis using ANSYS. Okay, this is the best way of introducing your skills in your resume. One major problem here is resume is not trustworthy. Sometimes I've seen it in applicants that applied for a few months, they lose their self-confidence and they just try to go to the job description, find the keyword, include those keywords in their resume without caring whether they really know those things decently or not. That's a bad idea. Even if you're invited for a technical interview, during the technical interview, most likely they would be able to realize that whether you really have those skills or not. And if if they if they feel that they can't trust on you, there's no future there. Okay, so and it would be very awkward. So I what I would suggest to you is in your resume, make sure that at least 80% of the content, you're confident that 80% you're good with 80% of the content. I don't say don't exaggerate on your capabilities, but I would say exaggerate on at most 20% of the content in your resume. Okay. So 80% is what you really believe, and 20% is where you have a little bit of exaggeration. Okay. Don't don't exaggerate on 80% of your resume. Now, the other problem is people try to go with high quantity with a master resume, as I said, instead of going with high quality with a customized resume. Okay. This is wrong. Don't do that. Prepare high quality resume, find someone to refer you, and then after spending that good time, then apply for with a good resume, with a good referral for a position to improve the chance of being shortlisted. Okay. And the other problem is sometimes the resume doesn't match the job description, which is a very bad idea. If you're not a, if you don't match, then there is no way to be shortlisted in the recruiter's list. Okay. The other problem is uh, when I say resume doesn't match the job description, it means your resume, meaning the summary of your resume, the job experiences, the bullet points under each job experience, the skills you listed in your resume, they don't match the job description. What does it mean by job description? If you go to the job title, to the responsibilities listed in that job description, to the skills and qualifications they are asking for. Okay, these things should be reflected in your summary and the bullet points of your job experiences and the skills. Okay, if it is the case, then your resume matches the job description. Sometimes, like I said, I mean, people overlook the soft skills, which is a very bad idea. Resume is full of extra skills and information. Like I said, suggest not exceeding 20% exaggeration. Applicants with, especially it is a common problem with applicants who have master or PhD. They just uh, list all their publications, conferences, awards, and so on. Do not give full list. Do not. No one in a company would be interested in reading the entire list of publication. If you have, for example, 10 publications, conference papers, awards, and so on, no one in that company would be interested in looking at all these publications, the title of all these publications. Okay, so do not do that. But do not ignore because probably these are the only things you have. You have to provide information very strategically and purposefully. Um, we there are a lot of things here. We usually work with the applicants when we are coaching them for the career, but like I said, I mean, just try to uh, make sure that you are at least familiar with these things in this class. Okay. Now, the other problem is off-range financial expectation. Okay. Like I explained the other session, research beforehand, make sure that you are not too high, your expectation is not too high or too low. And then people usually get tired or disappointed or upset, or they lose their self-confidence after a few months trying without any success. It is rather than getting tired or disappointed or lose your self-confidence, try to understand the problem why you're not receiving any call. There is a problem in your resume which should be solved. Solve that problem and receive the call instead of spending a whole lot of 6 months without any success. Okay. So again, finding a job is a click. No one knows when it happens. So you have to stay consistent and resilient. Okay. The other problem is when you forget the track of applications or being shy to follow up, which I explained, you are not prepared for interviews. That's a problem. Like I said, interviews is a short time for you to showcase your capabilities, both technical and soft skills related to the job description. So before the technical interview, read the job description many times. Make sure that you're very familiar. I mean, you have all those technical and soft skills in your mind. and then practice the interview many times to make sure that you'll include all those skills in your answers, okay? And make sure that your answers are concise and precise. The other thing is, people, not reviewing the job description before interview. Sometimes you apply for a job and then you have no record of the job description. Then after a few weeks, you are invited for the technical interview, and you have no idea what the job description was. Okay, that's okay. If it is the case, you have to ask the recruiter send the job description again to you. Don't be shy for that. It is not that awkward. So don't be shy. And if it is, and if even if it was awkward, I wouldn't lose the chance of a technical interview because of asking something a little bit awkward from the recruiter. It is not that awkward. Okay, so ask the recruiter to send the job description again to you. The other problem is during the interview, not using the keywords, both technical and soft skills in your answers, and on the other side, emphasizing too much on keywords at the expense of fluency. Fluency is a matter. Storytelling is matter. Keywords should come within a story in a very fluent, concise, and precise answer. Okay. Focusing on your skills, achievement, and experiences of context of the job description. That's a bummer. That's bad. You may have a lot of other skills that are not listed in the job description. Don't spend a whole lot of time to talk about those skills as some other skills that could be added to the table. No, don't 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 discuss too much on them because it would be distracting for the team. They may feel that okay, this guy, what he or she wants to work on, he's listing a lot of the skills that we are not interested in. Looks like this guy is more interested in those things, or at least the panel won't be able to come up with a conclusion that, okay, this is a job description and this guy is a good fit and very interested in that. Okay. So don't bombard them with extra skills and experiences. The other thing is if you overstress or not relaxed during the interview, like I said, being relaxed, try to answer and a good story very fluently, not be overstressed because you kind of they would have that impression that this guy is not comfortable, so uh, something may be wrong here. And if they're asking a question which is not clear to you, don't be shy to ask for clarification. It it is a short time for you to showcase your capabilities, so don't lose that short time for any reason, including being shy for to ask for clarification. And then using an effective negotiation strategy. When we receive the offer, if you bluff about multiple offers while you don't have any, that's a bad idea. If you provide personal excuses in your negotiation, that's a bad idea. It's a bad mistake. I explained these things in the last session, right? If you only discuss the financial items in the offer, not a good idea. Offer includes several different items that could be discussed and could be negotiated. So think of the offer as a whole package, not just a piece of paper with a number for your income. And then if you make the negotiation too lengthy or worse than that, change your mind about the items you negotiated many times. That's a bad idea. Just come up with most important things, negotiate on them in one or two or at most three rounds. I would suggest don't go above two rounds for your negotiation. After two rounds, make your decision whether you want to continue or ignore that offer. Okay. So sorry for the time, but these are all about job hunting. Next week, we'll go into the banking and financial services. So, like I said, please send your specific questions if there is any about the banking and financial services, online purchases, and so on. We'll try to cover as we can. Thank you again, and sorry again for exceeding the time, and hope you'll have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us today. We hope you're leaving with a new tools and confidence to shop and protect your consumer rights. A heartfelt thank you to Dr. Hamed Vahabi for sharing his expertise with you. At the Canadian Helper Society, we're committed to supporting newcomer women through accessible learning opportunities. Thanks to the corporations of the City of Kitchener for making this possible. Please stay in touch for more sessions, and we